All praise, I became and saved me, now I'm no longer afraid. Now I know I'm Israel, I'm no longer a slave. Thank you, Father, Yah, for keeping me up out that cage. Now I'm on another chapter after ripping out that page. I pray that I'm saved, there's no telling how it might go. Angels watching everything and they don't make no typos. I pray that you make the switch while you can see that light close, so you don't die here like you trying to let that white show. And my aura like a 98. They say it's 12, well I'm trying to slide in any gate. I'm trying to live for infinity, a figure 8. I pray the Lord, he forgive me for that interstate. Dog visions gave me dog days. Whole time he never left me in my off ways. The rock was a white color, off beige. Not a rock giving me the praise like all praise. I became and saved me, now I'm no longer afraid. Now I know I'm Israel, I'm no longer a slave. Thank you, Father, Yah, for keeping me up out that cage. Now I'm on another chapter after ripping out that page. I became and saved me, now I'm no longer afraid. Now I know I'm Israel, I'm no longer a slave. Thank you, Father, Yah, for keeping me up out that cage. Now I'm on another chapter after.
Okay, head down, eyes closed, praise Abba, looking like thumbs up, 7 up. This the blessing of the Father, never luck. Put my demons on ice like a puck. Repent and serve the Most High, cause tomorrow ain't promised, life is abrupt. Revelation from my meditation, this is elevation, we like kites going up. Chef, I gotta agree with the hook. All praises to the Most High, the book. I'm his anointed, my enemy shook. We ain't give up despite what it took. I'm starting to feel like a boat on the shore. Before we make waves, we still got to push. I'm fight for Abba, I feel like the bush. Humble and chef, we likely to cook. Chef.
Better yet, I'm in a better book. Babylon burning, don't ever look back at that city, you silly, you ever look. It ain't no weapon that's forming against me, I will be getting that weapon took. I can hear Abba keep telling me, chef in the kitchen, he cooking, he better cook. Whoa, I just spun my demons, I got rid of all my foes. I'm righteous on the inside, there's just fringes on my clothes. Cleaned up all my cup, I got no demons to expose. But a hope gon' be a hope, my nigga, you know how that goes. But thank you, my Abba, for blessing me. And thank you for all of my brothers, too many to name, that just want the best for me. And thank you for Duty and Nikki, they always be with me, forever my legacy. And thank you for keeping the evil away from me, that one especially. All praise, Abba came and saved me, now I'm no longer afraid. Now I know I'm Israel, I'm no longer a slave. Thank you, Father, Yah, for keeping me up out that cage. Now I'm on another chapter after ripping out that page. Abba came and saved me, now I'm no longer afraid. Now I know I'm Israel, I'm no longer a slave. Thank you, Father, Yah, for keeping me up out that cage. Now I'm on another chapter after ripping out that page. Yeah. Sometimes that's all you gotta say is all praise. Yeah. Sometimes that's all you gotta say is all praise. Abba came and saved me, now I'm no longer afraid.
All right, shalom, shalom. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Saturday morning class from the Lines of Israel. It's your brother, Priest Danyaahla, representing Lines of Israel. Maccabeestv. I want to say all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh. And I do so in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, who the world calls Jesus Christ. I want to say peace and blessings to everybody that's listening. For those of you guys that's watching us on our YouTube page, Maccabeestv, as well as the Lines of Israel class. I appreciate you, brothers and sisters, for joining me this morning. I ask that you, brothers and sisters, hit the like button, like the video, share the video. Of course, drop a comment in the comment section. I definitely appreciate you guys for being here on our YouTube platforms. And I'm going to tell you guys something. So right now, currently, I'm in Dallas. So I'm actually 1 hour behind my normal time, which is Eastern time, 10 o'clock. I'm on Central time right now. So some of you guys saw that I started the class an hour ago because I forgot what time zone I'm actually in. And I'm realizing the sacrifice that many of you brothers and sisters make when you guys that are in the Central time zone, you guys that are in the Mountain time zone. Shout out to LOI, Colorado. Also, shout out to the brothers and sisters on the West Coast. For you guys, you know what I'm saying? Y'all, my class comes on at 7 o'clock in the morning for you guys. So I do appreciate you all being here. You know, I appreciate it a lot more now that I'm in the Central time zone. You guys coming here every week to fellowship with us. We definitely do not take your time for granted. And I pray that the classes continue to edify you all right? Also, I want to shout out the Clubhouse family. You guys see the link at the top of the room. I'm going to be going over a lot of videos today and showing you guys a lot of things. So if at all possible, guys, click the link at the top of the room, come over to YouTube and watch the PowerPoint presentation and the videos I'm going to show. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to say today's class is about 100 in terms of if you are able, you'd be much better off coming over and watching. You'd be that much more edified by watching a video as opposed to just listening on Clubhouse. But if you are indisposed and only able to listen, that is perfectly fine. Also, forgive me in advance if there are any technical difficulties, because as I mentioned, guys, I'm not in my normal spot where I broadcast. So anything can go wrong when you're broadcasting from someplace else. So I pray that everything is coming across clear. I pray that you guys on Clubhouse can hear me clearly. But again, if you cannot, the link is at the top of the room. And we are about to get started with today's class. I see Sergeant Zakaria just popped in. So let me go ahead and mod him up. All right, guys. So we're going to get started with today's class. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm not really sure how long today's class is going to take. It all depends on the spirit. I could be done with the class before my normal time, or I could be done after my normal time. I don't know. It all depends on how the spirit leads me. So we're just going to take it little by little. Okay, so let me change the way the screen looks. I'm also going to remove the banner so you guys can see everything that's on the screen that I'm going to be showing you in the PowerPoint. And I'm going to remove our logo as well. And I will put those back up later on. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and let's share the screen. And let's get started with today's class. All right, guys. So today's class, Salaki. Okay, I see Elder Zahab just popped in. Let me bring him in as well. All right.
Shalom, priest. Shalom to the family. Shalom.
All right, Elder Zahab, since you're here, if you have anything that you want to say before we get started, the floor is yours.
Just regular salutations and greetings to the brothers and sisters, and exhorting the Most High in the name of Mashiach Yahushua. I came in late, so I don't want to hold up what's going on. So go right ahead, please.
All praise to the Most High. So today's class is called The Ostrich Effect and the Last Days. Again, today's class is called The Ostrich Effect and the Last Days. Now, how many of you brothers and sisters, and you guys can put it in the chat, how many of you brothers and sisters know what the ostrich effect is? If you know what the ostrich effect is, or also known as the ostrich problem, put 1 in the chat. If you don't know what the ostrich problem is, the ostrich effect, put 2 in the chat. But if you guys are watching the PowerPoint, you kind of get an idea of where we're going today, right? You're looking at a bunch of ostriches with their head in the sand, while everything around them is being destroyed. Everybody sees that, right? The ostriches represents a subset of our people. The ones who we go out in the highways and the byways and we teach continually, week in and week out. The ones that we put videos up on YouTube so they could be edified. The ones that come into our rooms on Clubhouse that we try to edify, but they always want to scoff. A lot of our people are ostriches with their head in the sand. They can clearly see that something is going on in this world, that there is a paradigm shift taking place in front of all of our eyes. But a lot of our people don't want to accept what they're seeing. So they're like a bunch of ostriches that put their head in the ground. Like, I don't want to see what's going on. I'm going to pretend like I don't want to see what's going on. Wasn't that a couple of years ago during the Obama administration, after Obama was elected? Weren't black people, so-called black people, running around and telling other black people that we are in post-racial America, that racism didn't exist anymore because we had Obama as a president? I remember that going on, don't y'all? Right? What was the name of the senator? I forget what senator it was. I forget what senator it was. You guys could actually look up the senator online. But he said Obama being our president was reparations. It was Senator Mitch McConnell. Senator Mitch McConnell. He said Obama being elected president is foundational Black Americans reparation. That's what they said. So supposedly with Obama's election, racism in America was over. How's that looking in 2026, brothers and sisters? How's that looking? It's not looking too good. And you have a lot of ostriches. Let me give you some names. Anton Daniels, Jason Whitlock, Officer Tatum, any black person that goes on Fox News, right? These guys are all ostriches. They see exactly what's going on. Exactly what's going on. And they put their head in the sand and want to pretend like they don't see it. But just because you pretend like you don't see it does not mean it is not happening. So that's the ostrich effect. And it's happening in the last days. But as we're going to see in the scriptures, the ostrich effect actually was happening in ancient times too. Our people had the same mentality. We're the same people. We're just the modern people as opposed to our ancient forefathers and foremothers. Right, so let's move on. Let's start with 2 Chronicles, chapter 36, verse 15. It says, and the Lord God of their fathers sent to them by his messengers. So who were the messengers? The messengers were the prophets, the people that would tell the people of impending destruction. Rising up betimes, meaning rising up early, and sending, because he had compassion on his people. So the reason why you see brothers on the streets teaching, which is the vehicle that many people came into the truth through, is God's mercy. See, in our carnal eyes, when you see men on the street teaching, you just look at that, that's just a man. Those are just men. I'm a black man, that's a black man. I'm a Hispanic man, that's a Hispanic man. That's just our people. It's nothing. Not understanding that the Most High putting the Spirit on these messengers, these teachers, to go in the streets and teach. Many times on their day off, many times hazarding their lives, many times being hated on by their own people. The Most High puts the Spirit on them to go out in the streets and teach. That is mercy from God Almighty. And our people don't look at it that way. Because he had compassion on his people and on his dwelling place. Let's jump over to Jeremiah 35, verse 15. It says, I have sent also unto you all my servants, the prophets, rising up early and sending them, saying, return ye now every man from his evil way. The same thing the prophets of old did is the same things that brothers do every single day, whether we do it on the streets, whether we do it via YouTube and the internet, or whether we're doing it on Clubhouse. We're doing the same thing. And we tell our people, return ye now every man from his evil way and amend your doings, meaning to amend something that you're going to change it. And go not after other gods to serve them, and ye shall dwell in the land which I have given to you and to your fathers. But ye have not inclined your ear nor hearkened unto me. Why? Because our people stuck their head in the sand and said, we don't want to hear it. We're not listening. We don't believe you. Let's jump back over to Jeremiah 25, verses 3 through 4. It says, from the 13th year of Josiah, the son of Amon, king of Judah, even unto this day, that in the 23rd year the word of the Lord hath come unto me, and I have spoken unto you, rising early, and speaking, but ye have not hearkened. And the Lord hath sent unto you all his servants, the prophets, rising early and sending them, but ye have not hearkened, nor inclined your ear. Let's move on. Isaiah 28, verses 14 through 16. Wherefore, hear the word of the Lord, ye scornful men that rule this people, which is in Jerusalem. Because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we at agreement. Right, our people want to basically assimilate to our captivity. They don't want to change. They don't want to amend their ways. They don't want to repent. They want to assimilate. They made an agreement with captivity. We see that in the book of Maccabees. You had certain wicked men that were so forward that they went and made a covenant with the Greeks, and the Greeks gave them license to do after the customs of the heathen. Now, I kind of paraphrase that. That's not word for word, but we know that that's written. It's the same thing being written right here. Our people made a covenant with death, and with hell they are at agreement. Watch this. It says, when the overflowing scourge shall pass through, what is that? Destruction. It shall not come unto us. They put their head in the sand and said, all this destruction that's going on around us is not going to touch us. Racism is dead, even though racism is at an all-time high in America, and Esau is not ashamed anymore of it. Racist white men are being platformed, right? Your Nick Fuenteses of the world, your Tucker Carlsons of the world, your Matt Walshes of the world, so forth and so on. These guys are no longer wearing the KKK mask and the robe. No, these guys are on national television, on Fox News and other stations being platformed, right? It says, when the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come nigh unto us. For we have made lies our refuge. That's what our people did back then, and that's what our people are doing now. Turning a blind eye to everything that's going on around them and just hoping eventually it'll pass away, and it won't happen. But it's going to happen. And under falsehood, we have hid ourselves, right? That's the mindset of our people. That's the ostrich problem, or the ostrich effect. Let's move on. This is Isaiah chapter 30, verse 10. It says, which say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, but speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceit. Our people want to run to pastors like Mike Todd, right? Like Philip Anthony Mitchell and the rest of these clowns, these modern day clowns. We already know about the old school, the old guard, you know, the Creflo Dollars, the TD Jakes, but now you have the new generation, the Mike Todds, the Philip Anthony Mitchells, et cetera, et cetera. You have this new generation of people that flock to these men, and Jamal Bryant is another one, these wolves. Our people flock to these guys because these guys tell our people what they want to hear. So our people love that. The Bible says our people have itching ears. Right? Let's move on. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 1. It says, but of the times and seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. Why? Because they already knew. Paul had already warned them. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. And we understand the way a woman with child in travail actually happens, right? The woman with child is pregnant, and then she goes into travail, which is labor, and you have the labor pains that are very far apart. And then eventually the labor pains get closer and closer, and the pains become sharper and sharper, more painful until the baby is born. And such it is, the Bible is using a metaphor or an analogy of how the destruction is going to be. Things were happening far apart to the point where people was like, where's this promise of God coming back? Where's this promise of deliverance? Because these things were happening so few and far between, but now things are happening in rapid succession. And we're able to see it. We're able to see the turmoil all over the world, which is one of the reasons why They forced the Chinese to sell TikTok because TikTok was one of the main vehicles with which you were able to see everything that's going on around the world and share information. And it was unregulated because most of the media platforms that we use in America, even social media, is run by the small hats. And so you're only given certain information. And if you have not noticed on your TikTok feed, for those of y'all that use TikTok a lot, you guys will notice that prior to, during the time when Biden was still president, and there was the whole thing about TikTok getting ready to go away, you were seeing a lot of what was going on in Palestine on your TikTok timelines, lots of it. If you guys haven't noticed, you're not seeing any of it anymore. Because once the algorithm was sold to American investors, they scrubbed that. They changed the algorithm. You're not seeing nothing because they want to keep you asleep. So literally, the only voices out here warning people about what's going on is alternative news sites and the teachers of God. That's it. And that's why only a certain elect amount of people is actually going to be able to hearken into this. The majority of our people are not going to be able to receive it because they don't see it on mainstream media. Yes, they will platform white supremacists on mainstream media, but they won't platform us. And by the way, let me say this before we move on. If you see any black person being platformed, they're a sellout. Period. Point blank. All right, let's move on. This is 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. Now, for the sake of brevity, I'll look up the word perilous, and I looked up the synonyms for perilous, and the first synonym to come up is dangerous. So dangerous times are going to come in the last days. Another synonym for perilous is hazardous. Hazardous times are going to come in the last days. We're seeing it all around us. Another synonym is risky. Risky times are going to come in the last days, and we are seeing it. So now, let's get to today's topic. What is the ostrich effect? So I took a snapshot of the Wikipedia entry, and we're going to read it. And again, for you guys on Clubhouse, we're going to be showing a lot of videos and a lot of things. So the link is at the top of the room if you guys want to actually visually see what I'm demonstrating here. So it says the ostrich effect, also known as the ostrich problem, was originally coined by Danyaahla and Orly Sade. The name comes from the common but false legend that ostriches bury their heads in the sand to avoid danger. So if you watch the Nature Channel and you observe ostriches really don't put their head in the sand. It's kind of a metaphor. So the ostrich effect is more of a metaphor than anything. Now, where they get that from is that what an ostrich will do with its long neck is that it will lower its neck almost down towards its feet to hide from prey. That's what it'll do. But it doesn't actually dig its head into the sand. So from a distance, when you see an ostrich, it may look to the human eye, because sometimes it's an optical illusion. To the human eye, it would appear the ostrich's head is actually in the sand, but it's not. But it does lower its head to hide away from danger. That's what it does. So that's what the ostrich effect is about you lowering your head and metaphorically putting your head in the sand to try to avoid what's going on around you and act like it's not happening, but it's happening. All right. It says this effect is a cognitive bias where people tend to bury their head in the sand and avoid potentially negative but useful information such as feedback on progress to avoid psychological discomfort. Many of you guys know people, and I've heard people say this, many people, especially our people, that tell us, hey, I don't watch the news. And you ask them, well, why don't you watch the news? Because it's too much, it's too negative. Any of y'all ever heard somebody say that? I've heard a lot of people say that, and mainly our people. You don't want to watch the news because there's always something bad happening. That's literally the ostrich effect. That's literally the ostrich problem. You feel as though digging your head in the sand is going to make everything that's going on go away. And that's not real. That's not real. I need for everybody to understand that. Y'all bear with me just for 1 second. I want to make sure. All right. So let's move on to the next slide. Now, who is Larry Fink, right? Now, I did, when I took the screenshot, I had this little thing here, my bad, but Still the part I need is showing, so it's all good. Who is Larry Fink? Many of us don't know who Larry Fink is. So if you don't know, we're going to learn together. Lawrence Douglas Fink is an American billionaire, businessman, and he is a co-founder, chairman, and CEO of a company called BlackRock, right? And BlackRock is basically an umbrella company of many, many subsidiaries under it, which we're going to get into, and they are evil and wicked as all hell. That's the best way for me to kind of say it. And as we can see down here, and I'm sorry again for it to be covering it up, but you guys can see he's from a family of small hats. These are the small hats. Everybody can see that, right? This is them. Okay. So Larry Fink is the CEO of BlackRock, and BlackRock is over all these companies, and these are companies that we see every day. These are companies that we all know. These are companies that we all patronize. We all use Amazon. Many of us use PayPal. Many of us use Walmart. Some of you guys have AT&T as your phone carrier. Many of us use Microsoft. If you're using a computer with Windows, use a Microsoft. If you have an Android, you use a Microsoft, right? Some of you guys have Verizon, right? So forth and so on. Many of you guys go to Lowe's. Some of y'all have a Netflix subscription. They have stake inside Facebook, which is Meta, so forth and so on. Many of us take Ubers. They're invested in all these companies, all of them, right? Okay, let's go to the next one. And here's another look at a chart that shows us how much money that they have invested in each of these companies. And all this is going to make sense soon, so just stay with me. All this is going to make sense soon. So they're involved in a lot of these companies. Now, if we know what we know that them being involved in these companies is not for our good whatsoever. Let's go to the next one. I want to teach you guys some vocabulary today because it's going to play into what it is that I'm going to be talking about as we cycle through the slides. I want you guys to understand the difference between what Esau calls hard kill, which is using overt force, and what Esau calls a soft kill, which is indirect pressure. Now, Esau's goal, as we're going to see as we progress through the PowerPoint, is depopulation. They want to get rid of at least 5-6 billion people off the face of the earth. Now, this can be achieved through war because they have the most powerful militaries in the world. This can actually be achieved through war. War is called hard kill, right? You have war, genocide, bombings, and sometimes you have natural disasters, right? Which are a lot less frequent. And by the way, through the HARP program, Esau also can control natural disasters to a degree. They can seed clouds. They can do a lot of things because they're wicked as hell. But these hard kills don't kill off the population fast enough for them. And also there are a lot of humanitarian issues. Translation, if the population of the world, the 99%, we're going to use the term 99% for now. If the population of the world, the 99%, were fully aware of what the 1%, the billionaires, the elites were trying to do, which is a program of depopulation of the earth, they would destroy the 1% easy. It wouldn't even be hard, right? But because the 1% controls all of this, they keep the people asleep, especially they control the media, MSNBC, CNN, Fox, Time Warner Cable. They have stakes, like I said, in Facebook. They have Comcast. They own all these things. A lot of what they're doing is not put on the news. They give you what's called distractions. So they cannot use the hard kill method openly to destroy the population the way that they would like. So what they're doing is they're using other methods called soft kill. What are soft kill methods? They're putting food on the shelves that's killing us. Your food you're eating is literally killing you, all of us. Even the ones of us that are super healthy, the food that we consume is killing us, right? The earth is not yielding its strength the way it was in ancient times. A lot of the foods we eat are processed. A lot of the plants that we eat, they're doing things to the seeds, genetically modifying things, so forth and so on, right? The pesticides that they're using on the plants, the manure, et cetera, So they're killing us on both fronts. They're doing it through hard kills, all these manufactured wars that are put together by the elites, playing one side against another, and they're sitting at the top controlling the whole thing. And they're killing us indirectly through soft kill. That's your food. Also food scarcity, which is famines. The Bible says famines are coming. Don't the Bible say that? Food scarcity is going to be a way of controlling the population and depleting it. At some point or another, they're going to take control of the food reserves, et cetera, et cetera. These laws are already on the books. Then you have diseases, right? What was the pandemic about? It was a plandemic, exactly what I said. And also through malnutrition, right? They control the food supply, all those things. So these are methods that the elites plan on using to destroy and kill off a lot of our people. And we need to be aware of this. Let's move on. Next thing. What is the Hegelian dialectic? Now, that's not a Negro word at all. You're like, what? What? It's something called the Hegelian dialectic. And I'm going to explain it. Y'all just stay with me. It's all going to make sense shortly, and it's all going to come together. The Hegelian dialectic is an interpretive method originally used to relate specific entities or events to an absolute idea. Somebody is saying that still doesn't make no sense, please. I don't get it. I got you. Don't worry about it. Let's move on. Here is an example of what is called, and I spelled called wrong, so we're going to build it while we fly. Let's go ahead and let's add the D there. Yes, I did pass English class in high school, believe it or not.
You sure about that?
Oh.
No, I'm just messing with you. Now, what I was going to say is that the Hegelian dialect is funny. Once you explain it and people get it, you're going to watch a lot of your podcasters use the Hegelian dialect.
Mm-hmm. So the Hegelian dialectic is also known as something called problem, reaction, solution. So here's an example. You have an agenda. You want centralization of power. So you create the problem. You have what is called a manufactured terrorist attack like 9/11, right? And others. That's the problem. Then you have the reaction. They bring in a police response. You bring in the military. You change laws on the books. Congress passes something called the Patriot Act, where some of your constitutional rights are taken away. The government's controlling all this. They created the problem. Then there was a reaction to the problem that they created, creating laws to take your rights away, right? And the solution is now you lost all your rights. And you go along with it. That's the Hegelian dialect. They're playing in your face. That's what they're doing. They're literally playing in your face, and most people can't see it. Now, let's watch this video in case Priest Danyaahla did not do a good job explaining what the Hegelian dialect is. Let's go ahead and let's watch this video. I think it'll make it even more sense. And then we're going to look at something very interesting right after this video. Let's go.
Georg Hegel was a German philosopher who came up with a basic system for achieving the goals of the Illuminati called the Hegelian dialectic. This system is based on 3 steps. In step 1, a rogue government will create the problem that harms or even kills its own citizens. This deception is known as a false flag attack. In step 2, a rogue government will control the reaction to the problem which it created by typically blaming it on an enemy or some aspect of its own society over which it seeks more control. This is why the term false flag attack is so named. In step 3, a rogue government will offer the solution to the problem which it created. This solution is typically a war or a system of regulations. The solution would usually not be accepted by the public had the rogue government not created the crisis and controlled the reaction to it in the first place.
Right. The public would not accept it if they understood what their government was doing. So how does the public not know? Because the powers that should not be control the media. And the media is not going to tell you that the government is playing with you. They're not going to tell you. Let's continue.
A government which seeks increasing control can keep pushing society to accept its agenda by following a series of problems, reactions, and solutions which it planned all along. The significance of the Hegelian dialectic is not how evil it is, but rather how often governments choose to follow it. There has not been a major war in the 20th and 21st centuries that does not follow the Hegelian dialectic.
There's not been a war in the 20th or 21st century that did not follow the Hegelian dialectic, Salaki. Let's move on.
Georg.
Guys, how many of you guys know of a rapper named Prodigy of a rap group called Mobb Deep? Some of y'all do. Some of y'all may be too young, right? But there was a rapper named Prodigy of Mobb Deep, right? Most famously, he got into a beef with Jay-Z, and Jay-Z wrote a diss song about him, and blah, 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 blah. And they have a big hit with Lil' Kim. You know, they had their moment to shine. They were a really popular rap group from New York in the 90s and early 2000s, right? So Prodigy of Mobb Deep passed away in June 2017 from complications of sickle cell anemia. This is what the popular narrative is, but let's keep reading. The severe blood disorder he battled his whole life. So his whole life, he battled sickle cell. But look at this. Though the immediate cause was choking on an egg while hospitalized in Las Vegas for sickle cell. So he had a sickle cell crisis, right? A flare-up. So he was hospitalized in the hospital. And by chance, somehow, he dies by choking on an egg. Now, y'all tell me, does that sound right? Does that sound right? The answer is no. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, Priest, you sound like a conspiracy theorist. You might have a tinfoil hat on right now. Why would they kill him? What did he do? Well, the last album that he put out before he died was called what? The Hegelian Dialect. He was telling. And when you're in the industry, you're not supposed to tell. He was telling. So they said, okay, once they found out he was hospitalized, let's go ahead and shove an egg down his throat and let him die. That's going to shut him up, right? An egg down your throat symbolizes where your vocal cords are, right? Where your air passage is, you can't talk no more. Hello? That's a message. That's a message. This last album was called the Hegelian Dialectic. Now let's hear him in his own words about what the album actually signifies. Let's go ahead and turn the volume all the way up. Listen.
Ladies and gentlemen, going on with St. Megadon.
Tell me the name of the new album, because I don't mess it up.
The name of the new album is Hegelian Dialectic Part 1. This is Part 1. It's a 3-part album.
Break that down for us. What's that about, Hegelian?
So the Hegelian Dialectic, that's it's basically like a philosophy that this guy Hegel came up with. You know what I mean? He wrote a lot of books about psychology and philosophy and stuff like that. But he had this theory about what governments do to the people. And it's basically they create a problem. You know what I mean? Then they get the people to react, and then they offer the solution. You know what I mean? So it's like that's called the Hegelian dialectic: problem, reaction, solution. You know what I'm saying? Or otherwise known as a false flag. You know what I mean? Like a false flag operation. Yeah. So
Part 1 of 3.
this is what it is. It's the album. You know what I'm saying?
Let's get into this, man. Prodigy's in the house. We're making more history here. New album in stores, new book in stores.
Yeah, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the same man that was a part of a group called Mobb Deep. They have an album called Murder Music. What do you guys think they're talking about on the album Murder Music? They're talking about killing their own people and selling drugs. Their first, I don't want to exaggerate, their first 3, 4, 5 albums is all about killing their own people, selling drugs, doing crime, shooting guns. And then all of a sudden, this guy has a transformation, and now he's kicking knowledge. So they said, we have to silence that. So we're gonna stick an egg down your throat and make it seem like it was an accident. That was a message. Somebody in his position can't speak about the things that we speak about because we don't have the platform that he has. We don't have the access to the millions of people that he has. That's why we get away, for now, with saying the things that we say. But at some point, the powers that should not be are also going to seek to silence us as well. Hope everybody understands that. So Prodigy didn't put his head in the sand. And in my opinion, that cost him his life. And I think that's why everybody else in the industry puts their head in the sand and says nothing. I think that's why most so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans know that something is wrong, but they choose to put their head in the sand because they don't want to end up like this. Or many, many, many countless other truth tellers that had the same fate. Maybe they didn't die the same way, but they had the same fate. And I'm going to say something else as well. I feel like a lot of Israelites are softening their tone because they're scared too. That's my personal opinion. They don't want to. How many people you see teaching classes like this about this? Hardly any. Everybody wants to be right about salvation and virgin birth and salvation and virgin birth and salvation, but no prophecy. No lifting the veil off of Esau and what he's doing. None of that. But I'll leave that there. Let's continue. So now getting back to our subject, Larry Fink, who is the owner of BlackRock, right? Remember we talked about problem, reaction, solution. So C-19, right? Vaccine sales. The top companies, you have Pfizer, you have Moderna, and you have AstraZeneca. You also have Johnson & Johnson. But of the 4 top ones, 3 of them, Larry Fink has money, billions of dollars invested in these companies. It was a business. It was a business. So the problem that was created was the pandemic itself. The reaction was, they said, you saw when at the time Donald Trump was president, you saw they said they were going to roll out the jab really fast. So it looked like they were doing this on the fly. No, this was planned. These companies were strategically chosen. And notice the top ones are all under the control of one guy. Of course, there's the board of directors, but he's the face. One guy. That's not by accident. And then what wound up happening after that? A lot of people wound up dying, not from the pandemic itself, but from the jab. And also people were being put on ventilators with untrained nurses and doctors, not trained on the ventilators. People being put on ventilators and they were dying that way too. What is all this? This is a soft kill. This is part of the depopulation process through diseases. It's a soft kill. You didn't have to drop no bombs or nothing. You had the problem, which was the pandemic, and then 24-hour coverage on all your news stations, CNN, and MSNBC, Fox, Time Warner, et cetera, 24-hour news cycle. So what did they do? It made people scared. So everybody's now running they're having a reaction. They're running towards these jabs because they're scared. The jab is supposed to be the solution, but unfortunately, a lot of the people that passed away from the jab, that was the solution that the elites had in mind. This is why people put their heads in the sand, because this is not easy stuff to talk about, but somebody got to talk about it. Somebody has to sound the alarm. Shout out to Prodigy for doing that. It cost him his life, but it has to be said. The Bible says, he that seeketh to save his life shall what? Lose it. Let's move on. So here we have Larry Fink now, and you have these alternative news stations, like I said, alternative YouTube channels. You know, I got to take my hat off to these Edomites. Some of these Edomites know what's going on with their own government as well, and they're confronting them because they understand not only during this depopulation thing, they're not only looking to get rid of us, Blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, they're looking to get rid of a lot of them too. A lot of them are also looked at as useless as well by the elites as well. So they're confronting them. Now, they're not confronting them for us. They're doing it for themselves, but nevertheless, they're confronting them. So you could clearly see that everybody knows what's going on. So let's watch this video where Larry Fink is getting confronted. And it's funny that he has nothing to say. He has a lot to say when he's at the World Economic Forum, but when somebody catches him, on the street, he doesn't have anything to say. Interesting. Let's watch.
Don't touch my mic, man. Keep your distance. Why are your bodyguards such thugs, sir?
Larry, how you doing this year in the spirit of dialogue? That's can we have a conversation this year?
And look who his bodyguard is, of course. But listen.
Are you up for a conversation this year?
What about the spirit of dialogue, sir? Did you mean it, or was that another lie?
Obviously, since last year, you've been, I guess, promoted to the co-chair. Is that because if you want a job done right, you might as well do it yourself?
Last year you took photos of us, sir. What did you do with those photos?
Why are you so quiet? What does the spirit of dialogue actually mean, Larry? Does it mean anything? Is it like pretending you care about the carbon footprint?
These devils have no conscience. I need for y'all to know that they have no conscience. Okay.
Coming here on a private jet?
Why is your bodyguard pushing me into the street, sir? Just asking if you could just excuse yourself. What's the name? Why was the would-be assassin of Donald Trump in one of your corporate videos, sir? Isn't that?
Did y'all catch that? The so-called would-be assassin of Donald Trump was in one of Larry Fink's corporate videos, corporate training videos. It's all connected. How does that happen if it's not planned? Let's keep watching.
Bit weird.
Do you feel any responsibility as a Jew in the current climate where there's a rise in anti-Semitism and people blame Jews for everything, saying they want to control the world, and when they need evidence, they point to you?
Did y'all hear that? People are waking up to the fact that the small hats are behind everything. They control everything. And when they need evidence, they point to him. That's why I showed y'all that chart with all the companies that are under control of BlackRock. Him. He is literally the problem. He's not the only problem, but he's literally the problem in the flesh.
You're the example every anti-Semite gives, and it's hard to fight. Do you feel any responsibility for that? Don't touch my mic, man.
Keep your distance. Why are your bodyguards such thugs, sir? Isn't that the true Larry Fink? You have all this BS about conversations and dialogue, but underneath it, you're a thug.
Spirit of dialogue. Spirit of dialogue. This is what it looks like here in Davos.
How do you feel about Donald Trump saying you can no longer buy up residential homes and rent them out for profit? Did you talk to him about that? Do you agree with him that you've been predatory in your pricing for residential houses in America?
Have you consolidated power at left now that you're the co-chair? What did you do with Klaus Schwab? What did he do wrong? The spirit of dialogue. This is it. Welcome to Davos 2026. The West, the biggest pack of hypocrites, evil hypocrites like Larry Fink, who tell us how we got to live when it comes to your carbon footprint. You got to eat bugs. But old mate here gets to fly in his private jet. And when that one got tired, he's moved on to the spirit of dialogue. Now we got to talk to opposing voices just like this. It means being surrounded by your goons. This year's not taking photos of us, but just as quiet, no shame. What's your next project, Larry?
And there you have it. There you have it. Okay. I don't need to comment on that. Let's move to the next one. The world is a stage, and we're merely players on that stage. That's a quote attributed to William Shakespeare. And you guys can see the image. You have a puppet master, right? And then you have the puppets on the string. Now, when I created this image in AI, I made sure that each puppet was wearing a shirt that basically represents what country that the puppet is supposed to be representing. And the puppet master himself, we're going to find out who that is or who that was. So let's move on. Before we do that, let's get back to the Bible because we are Bible people. This is Psalms 146, verse 9. It says, "The Lord preserveth the strangers. He relieveth the fatherless and widow, but the way of the wicked he turneth upside down." So upside down would really represent the Most High putting things in their proper order, because right now things are upside down in the world. So the Most High turning things the opposite direction, upside down, would be putting things in its proper order. The Lord is going to do that. The Lord is going to preserve the strangers. Now, I went up to look up that word stranger, and the word stranger there is the Hebrew word gar, which is seen for an Israelite in Leviticus 25 and 35. So in this particular context, the strangers the Most High is going to preserve is us, no matter where we're scattered to, no matter where we sojourn. By the way, that word gar also means sojourner as well. And Israel is sojourning in every nation under heaven. We see them coming back to Jerusalem in Acts chapter 2. So even in our spreading, the Most High has preserved a remnant of us. And the way of the wicked, the Most High said he's going to turn it upside down. Meaning if things are going to be put in their proper order with us, the nation of Israel, ruling this earth and ruling over every other nation, right? Let's go to Isaiah 29:16. It says, "Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay." Who's the potter? The potter is Yahweh. The potter is God Almighty, the Father. And the clay is man. So no matter what state the world is in today, and no matter what Esau is doing to put the world in the state that it's in, at the end of the day, Esau is just a creation. And the Most High is the ultimate chess master. And when the Most High is ready, he's going to put things back in its proper perspective. Everybody understand? Let's move on. Now, let's look at something else real quick. Cartography. Map makers are liars as well. Let's watch this video real quick.
Ever seen a map that looked like this before? How many of you have ever seen this map?
Seen that map?
Yeah, isn't this the map that you use K through 16 in the United States of America? Now, folks, look at this map. According to your social studies teacher, what is the equator? Right, an imaginary line where?
Yeah.
Around the center of the earth. Then if this map is correct, then the equator must be here, and Chicago has a tropical climate. Now, folks, this is the map that we use in the schools. Look where the United States is, in the middle of the world, right? Now, here's the U.S.
This map is in some of your school books, your children's school books and grandchildren's school books today, and it's factually incorrect. But let's let her keep going.
SSR, which is no more, of course, Mongolia, China, Africa, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan. Now look over here. USSR, Mongolia, China, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan. 2 Indias here. We have 2 Indias. Did you know that? Now, people, this is a flat-out lie. Look at the size of Greenland and the size of South America. According to your social studies teachers, what were continents? Largest land masses on the face of the earth, right? Now, do you know the continents? Africa, Asia, Australia, Antarctica, Europe, North America, and South America. Did I say Greenland? Well, Greenland isn't a continent, but it's a huge landmass according to this map, right? The map is a flat-out lie, people. If you read the legend on the map, here it says, in fact, South America is actually 9 times larger than Greenland.
Did y'all catch that? So the illustration of the map maker, they made Greenland, which, by the way, you guys see Donald Trump is talking about invading Greenland. We ain't gonna talk about that right now. On the map, they made Greenland larger than South America. But then in the little tiny caption at the bottom, they tell you, well, actually, South America is really larger than Greenland. But Esau is racist. So when they made this map, they made the places that they dwell to look bigger than the places that everybody else dwells. That's what they did. Let's go back just a little bit,
Well, Greenland isn't a continent, but it's a huge landmass according to this map, right? The map is a flat-out lie, people. If you read the legend on the map, here it says, in fact, South America is actually 9 times larger than Greenland. Now, look at this map. The equator on this map is down here. All the white countries are larger than they should be, and all the countries of people of color are smaller than they should be. This is a visual image that teaches children a lie. In order to make this map anywhere near accurate, you have to take this over here and put it here like this. Now, well, can somebody hold that? Can you hold that down there, somebody? Are you a somebody?
Sally is a somebody.
Okay,
yeah.
Sally's a somebody. There. Now, take a look at the difference. Does that give you a different visual image of the importance of the United States? People, the way you use things like this, teaching aids like this, are what make you and I racist. We were taught that this is the way the world looks. It's a flat-out lie.
And after that, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, Oprah Winfrey was not talking about nothing else like this ever again. It was just foolishness. It was just foolishness. They don't platform stuff like this no more to expose these things. They just don't. Let's move on.
First.
Now, here we have a guy by the name of Klaus Schwab. So in the previous videos where we were looking at Larry Fink, as of 2026, is the head of the World Economic Forum. His predecessor is this devil right here, Dr. Evil, as I call him, Klaus Schwab. But I want you guys to pay attention to what Klaus Schwab is actually saying, because I think this is very, very important. So listen to the video. Let me turn the volume up real quick, and then.
And I have to say, when I mention now names like this Merkel, even Vladimir Putin, Vladimir Putin.
Now we're going to watch this video again, because you're looking at Vladimir Putin and you're looking at all these different countries and you're thinking that they're organically against each other, right? And the Most High is controlling all this, by the way. But a lot of these leaders are in these people's pocket. That's just a fact, right? That's why I had this like this, because he's going to tell you in this video that a lot of these leaders are in their pockets, which we already know, but now they're actually saying it openly.
And I have to say, when I mention now names like this Merkel, even Vladimir Putin, Vladimir Putin, and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. Mm-hmm. But what we are very proud of now is the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina, and so on, so that we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more half of this cabinet, are for our actually young global leaders.
So half of, now Trudeau is no longer prime minister, but I want you guys to get the intent. He said half the people in the cabinet and the leader himself were all compromised. They were all working for him.
The World Economic Forum.
And that's true in Argentina too. Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's true in Argentina as well.
It's true in Argentina, and it's true in France now. I mean, with the president, with a young global leader. But what is important from...
So we clearly see that these dudes are all in proverbial bed together. All right? And that's why you see a lot of the same things happening in all these different countries. If you look at what's going on in Europe right now, like in France, and in Britain specifically, and I believe in Australia as well. And the same thing is happening here in America. You're having wars about immigration. It's like they're all following the same script. It's to the point where it's like you've seen a movie already like 10 times and you can recognize the script right away.
And
this is 2nd Esdras chapter 8. I'm going to start from verse number 24. It says, "O hear the prayer of thy servant, and give ear to the petition of thy creatures. For while I live, I will speak, and so long as I have understanding, I will answer. Oh, look not upon the sins of thy people, but on them which serve thee in truth. So Esdras is telling the Most High, don't look at the whole of our people and their sins, because a lot of our people were in sin back then, and a lot of our people are in sin right now. There's more of our people that are in sin than those that actually serve the Most High in truth. So if the Most High was to weigh on a scale between us that try our best to keep his commandments through faith in the Son and the rest of our people, we would be outweighed. So Ezra is praying to the Most High, don't judge it in that manner. Verse 27, regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen, but the desire of those that keep thy testimonies in affliction. So the heathen, the wicked, they have some inventions that they've created, a lot of inventions. Now, inventions covers a broad spectrum of things. It goes into everything from the religions that they control, their doctrine, their education system, right? But it goes even further into their literal inventions that they create to help depopulate the earth, destroy the people, specifically God's people. So it's a broad spectrum of things that fall under this umbrella of inventions, right? It says, you know what? I'm going to move on for now, and I'm going to come back to this again and show you guys the same graph I showed you guys earlier. The whole pandemic was a business. That's what it was. Problem, reaction, solution. So again, because we have social media at our disposal, right? There are a lot of channels on TikTok, mainly, and also YouTube and also X. You have a lot of creators. When I say a lot is not really a lot, but you have enough making some noise where those of us that seek information can find it. So this particular guy caught Bill Gates walking to the World Economic Forum. We already seen them catch Larry Fink. Now they caught Bill Gates, and they're asking him some tough questions. Maybe Bill Gates will answer the question. I don't know. Let's see.
Mr. Gates, can I ask you what you think about the United States, the HHS and the CDC lowering the childhood vaccine schedule? What do you think about that? Mr. Gates, what do you think about the HHS lowering the vaccine schedule in the USA? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Mr. Gates, I'm a student from Columbia. I'm building a startup that aims to democratize access to education. Can I just have 10 seconds of your time?
Mr. Gates, given the complications that came out from the COVID vaccine, do you think that it was actually wrong to push such a thing on the world? No answers? Mr. Gates, can you at least accept now that it is public domain and common knowledge that the COVID vaccine was basically a failure? Can you accept that and at least apologize to the world for getting it wrong? It's okay to get things wrong if you admit you get things wrong when you are wrong.
Now, remember, I want everybody to keep in mind, it was a failure. A lot of people wound up dying from the jab itself and not the plague. But what people don't get, the masses don't get, it was a problem, reaction, solution. The plague was created by them, and the medicine was created to speed up the population of people dying off. This is a soft kill because wars, so forth and so on, cannot kill off the people fast enough for them. This is why in Matthew 24, Christ said, except those days should be shortened. There shall not any flesh be left. I'm kind of paraphrasing, but you guys get the idea. Why? Because they plan on wiping people out. That's the idea. And you putting your head in the sand is not making it go away.
Can you do that? Come on, Bill.
So miss me with all these arguments about saving Gentiles and the virgin birth. I'm not saying we can't talk about that sometimes. Sometimes we're going to talk about that. But this is more important.
The theme of the WEF this year is spirit of dialogue. Let's have a conversation, an open dialogue. Can you answer some of these questions? Okay, how about ignore these questions if there were complications with the COVID vaccine and you got things wrong and people were harmed and died?
That was the intent.
But you know what's so funny, Priest, if I could say something? They still pushing that. They still pushing the vaccines to this day. Now here it is. There's proof that people died from it as a result of it, right? That man should be in jail right now. That's a mass murderer, right? He should be in jail right now, but he's walking around free, and they still got the nerve to push the C-19 vaccine. They still talking about it to this day. All vaccines. It's crazy.
And it's ironic that Joe Biden, one of the last acts in office that he did was he pardoned Dr. Fauci. Why are you going to pardon somebody if he didn't do nothing? Because he understood that litigation was coming, jail was probably coming, so he pardoned him. And for those that don't know, Dr. Fauci was also the guy behind AZT. I believe that was the drug of choice when AIDS first came out, HIV first came out. They were giving people AZT, and it was killing off a lot of people as well. He was behind that as well. A familiar face. They just recycle themselves over and over again. And just one other thing real quick to Elder Zahab's points. The pandemic of C-19 was a beta test. So don't think for a second that the powers that should not be don't know that a lot of people were able to duck taking the jab. They don't like that. They don't like that. So as we begin to move towards the digital age, a lot of things are no longer going to be on a piece of paper. The C-19 vaccine, you were able to get a card, right? You had a card, and the card told whether you were, took the jab or not, and you would take it to your job. If your job was requiring it, you had to show your job that card, right? They're already planning for that not to be the case the next time something like this happens. The next time something like this happens, it's going to be digital. That's why they're rapidly moving towards the digital age. Just the other day, when I was coming down here to Dallas, currently I'm in Dallas right now, the next step is real ID. In some states, real ID is not yet required or mandatory, right? Like the state I live in, it's not necessarily mandatory. But we were at the airport, and as we were getting ready to check in and go through these scanners, the guy was like, I had my regular ID, my wife had a regular ID, and he asked us to present our passports. It's a good thing we had it. And he said, going forward, I forget what month it's going to be, but going forward sometime this year, if you show up at the airport and you don't either have real ID or your passport, they're going to charge you $45.
Right.
It's going to get surcharged. Huh?
I said, right. Yeah. I went through that too. And not only that, longer scrutiny.
Yep.
They pull you to the side and do extra stuff. It's all geared to get you to get that quote unquote real ID, which this is another topic for another day. But from what I'm understanding, when you get the real ID, you're forfeiting certain rights, so to speak. That's why they're trying to push everybody into it, So it's just like you said, Priest. Last time, some people were able to skirt under the radar, right, for that jab thing, that pandemic, right? But like you said, now that everything is going to be digital, how do you get around it? You can't get around it, so to speak. And real quick, to go back to what you said, right? TikTok was bought by who? It was bought by a consortium that's run by a small hat, right? Did you know that CapCut is also in that?
Yeah.
And Lemon 8, an app called Lemon 8 is in that also. So these small hats, they bought a whole bunch of companies, right? Under the guy, TikTok is the main one. It's going to be called TikTok USD. It's some crazy name like that, right? And then other smaller companies they bought. So now think about it, right? We could go to TikTok for the most part. Let's keep it a stack, right? Facebook is compromised. IG is compromised. YouTube, you can only say but a few things. It's only a matter of time before you can't mention certain things, right? You got to be dancing, the doing hopscotch, doing all type of dancing, so you don't get some type of strike or something, right, on YouTube. So now the only thing that was giving us a small measure of truth was TikTok. Now they got it. So now when Pandemic Part 2 come around, you won't be able to search through alternative media like a TikTok to say, yo, well, how could I get around this or how could I get around that? Nah, they're going to shut that down and everything going to be digital, like you said, Priest. So, we have to prepare, man. We have to prepare. And like you said, lastly, I'm gonna land my plane right now. A lot of our brothers and sisters, they intentionally put their head in the sand, because when they hold their head up and they look around, it seems hopeless if you don't have the Most High in Christ, right? If you don't understand the scriptures and understand that the Lord is our shelter, right? He's our rock, our fortress, right? But to the average Jake out there, they don't know that. So if they look around, they're like, yo, digitize this, jab that, this, that. Yo, I might as well put my head under the sand. You know what I mean? So I kind of get where they're coming from. They don't have a light. They don't have nothing. They don't have a covering. They don't got nothing. So if I put my head under the sand, at least I won't see when the bullets coming. I mean, I'm thinking that's their thought process. But I just wanted to bring that out, please.
Right. So the $45 is a punishment or a way of kind of making people get the real ID. And I'm sure they'll come up with other things as well, to the point where people are just going to kind of give in. And that all goes into what it's talking about in Revelation 13 as well. They're going to make it very difficult for you to move around in the system if you don't do what they tell you to do. In England, and I'm kind of deviating, but in England is a lot further ahead than we are. So is Australia. They've already instituted a digital ID. Now, they're beyond a real ID. They have a digital ID. And their prime minister said in 2025, going forward, you can't work in England if you don't have the digital ID. You can't work. So now, for those of us that have to feed our families and so forth and so on, you're going to have to get the digital ID if you want to work in England. That's coming here. And what it does is it puts a chokehold on loopholes that many of us use when we don't want to go along with something, because we clearly don't have our head in the sand. We clearly can see what's going on. We don't want to go along with it. So they make it very, very difficult for you to maneuver. And lastly, the same thing is going to be true about money, because money is going to be going digital eventually as well, probably by as early as 2030. And so they're going to be able to track every transaction you're doing, everything. They're already doing it in China, right? And if you say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, they can shut your money off, right? This is where we're heading. Makes no sense to put yourself in the sand, put your head in the sand. You got to know what's coming, and you got to plan accordingly, and also so that you're not freaked out when you see it happening. Because the majority of our people are going to be freaked out when they see this actually happening, right? And many of them are going to take to the streets and riot and stuff like that, and they're prepared for that too. Anyway, let's continue with the nice guy here, Bill Gates. Always smiling. Such a nice guy, right?
To some of these questions. Okay, how about ignore these questions if there were complications with the COVID vaccine and you got things wrong and people were harmed and died?
Sorry. All right.
Bill, can you at least answer one of those questions? Well, actually, you're walking in my way. Bill, often they say, we should trust the experts when it comes to vaccination. Yet, how are you an expert? You work in computers. You don't work in medicine. Yet, you seem to know so much about it. Why can't we answer these? Bill, are these people telling you what to do because you are losing your mind? You don't look very with it today, Mr. Gates. No. Now he's being pushed around. He almost looks like Joe Biden towards the end of his premiership, where he would just walk aimlessly around the place, almost like maybe he's had too many vaccines and it's causing brain damage. You saw his people going, no, Bill, this way, no.
All right, I don't have any reason to comment on any further. It is what it is. Let's move on. So we're back here where we understand what hard kills are and what soft kills are. So that whole C-19 and future pandemics, whatever they are, and the jabs that will come with them, and the restrictions that's going to force everybody to have to do it, so forth and so on, is going to basically fall under soft kill. It's a quick way to kill off a lot of populations. This is what they're doing. This is why God has to come and restore order. This is why God has to send his son so that things can be turned upside down, meaning put in their proper order, because Esau is diabolical, man. Let's move on. Back to this devil. Let's hear it out of their own mouths. This is Isaiah 32, verse 6. It says, for the vile person will speak villainy. This is villainy, what we're about to hear. This is absolutely a villain. This guy could be the villain in any movie. Listen.
I can argue in the developed countries, the big winners are countries that have shrinking populations. That's something that most people never talked about. You know, we always used to think shrinking population is a cause for negative growth. But in my conversations with the leadership of these large developed countries that have xenophobic immigration policies, they don't allow anybody to come in, shrinking unemployment, shrinking demographics, these countries will rapidly develop robotics and AI and technology. And if the promise, I didn't say it's going to happen, but if the promise of all that transforms productivity, which most of us think it will, we'll be able to elevate the standard of living of countries, the standard of living of individuals, even with shrinking populations. And so the paradigm of negative population growth is going to be changing. And the social problems that one will have in substituting humans for machines is going to be far easier in those countries that have declining populations.
So for everybody, hopefully y'all are following along, they're creating AI to do a lot of the jobs that would normally require human beings to do. It would require manpower. So they're rapidly advancing AI to do those jobs. And by doing those jobs, there is no need for so many people on the earth anymore because there won't be jobs for them, right? That's Ecclesiastes chapter 12. It tells you the sound of the grinding shall be brought low. Grinding represents factories. That represents jobs. So right now we're in a state in time where it's hard for people to find work. And when they do find work, it's hard for people to find work that pays livable wages. Because most cities, the cost of living far exceeds wages, right? So you have problems with all these social programs where the government has to come in and help people out, and you have homelessness and all these other problems. So their reaction to that is to advance technology and have AI, and AI take over as much jobs as possible where there's not the need for manpower. And so now you have these jobs covered, right? There's no need for everybody. So we got to start, I'm just being honest, we got to start killing them off. And that's what they're doing.
Yo, he just described exactly what Orange Man is doing. Because if you go back a little bit, he said societies that have xenophobic. I know that's, like you said, that's not a regular word, but xenophobic, that means you hate outsiders. You hate people who are not a part of your country. That's the spirit we're in right now. Isn't that the climate we're in? So he's saying, yeah, so he said people or countries that have xenophobic tendencies, and once and it makes sense. That's why they're kicking everybody out.
Yep.
So then on top of that, you mix, it's like a gumbo pot, right? You mix in a dash of C19, some xenophobia, you know what I mean? You stir it up, and then all of a sudden you throw AI in the pot, and what you got? Hey, that's crazy. Play that one more time, please.
Yes, I'm gonna start from the beginning.
I can argue in the developed countries, the big winners are countries that have shrinking populations. That's something that most people never talked about. You know, we always used to think shrinking population is a cause for negative growth. But in my conversations with the leadership of these large developed countries that have xenophobic immigration policies, they don't allow anybody to come in, shrinking unemployment, shrinking demographics, these countries will rapidly develop robotics and AI and technology. And if the promise, I didn't say it's going to happen, but if the promise of all that transforms productivity, which most of us think it will, we'll be able to elevate the standard of living of countries, the standard of living of individuals, even with shrinking populations. And so the paradigm of negative population growth is going to be changing. And the social problems that one will have in substituting humans for machines is going to be far easier in those countries that have declining populations. And so for those countries that have rising populations, the answer will be education, and so rapidly developing. For those countries that do not have a foundation of rule of law or education, they're going to be left. That's where the divide's going to get more extreme, and unfortunately.
So there it is. That's the vile person speaking villainy. And his heart, which is the Hebrew word lav, meaning his mind, will work iniquity, to practice hypocrisy and to utter error against the Lord. They're trying to be God. They're deciding how many people should be on the earth and how many shouldn't. To make empty the souls of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to cease. Now that has a literal connotation as well as a metaphoric connotation. So in this particular class, we're going to talk about the literal connotation. There's going to be famines. Some of them the Most High will cause to happen through natural disasters, and some of it is going to be man-made. They're doing it on purpose. This is what they're doing. It's a way of killing people off. All right, let's continue. This is another example of soft kill, aka population control. They give us all these foods that we eat, and a lot of these foods are very tasty to our palate, but a lot of these foods are killing us softly, killing us slowly. That's why our people are high, if not number one, on almost every disease list in America. Like our people are dying off the fastest: cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure, you name it. We're dying from it at rapid rates, more so than anybody else. They call ghetto neighborhoods that's in inner cities, they call them food deserts. You know what a food desert is? It's a place where you can go and you see a lot of restaurants there, but all the foods that are there, all the restaurants that are there are selling you foods that if you eat it regularly, it'll kill you slowly. You eat a lot of it, you're going to become obese. You're going to develop diabetes, high blood pressure, so forth and so on, which may eventually lead to a heart attack or a stroke. The men start suffering from erectile dysfunction. The women are suffering from PCOS, you name it. Just everything that we could possibly think of. A lot of it is coming from the foods. That's why so much bad food is readily accessible to us in our communities. And that's why the food is cheap. Now, a lot of us, speaking honestly, because we all find ourselves in the same predicament, a lot of us are on limited incomes, right? We know this, so there's no shade to anybody. But I'm going to promote something that I always promote. If you know, and you do know, and I do know, if you know that you're eating relatively poorly, no one should have to come and tap you on your shoulder after a month or two and say, hey, brother, hey, sister, you should do a flush. Nobody should have to tap you on the shoulder. You already, every time you open your mouth and you put that mama's fried chicken in there, you know it's not good for you, but it's what you can afford. So the least you could do without somebody coming and holding your hand is to do a flush or to do a cleanse. Because you know. So when you know better, you do better. Flushes and cleanses are not expensive. You can buy them. You can buy them a bunch of places. It's the Sabbath, so I won't say, but you can get them a bunch of places. It's not that serious, but you have to want to do that. All right? I'll leave that there for now. One of these Sabbaths, we're going to do a whole health class. I'm going to sit y'all down for a Sabbath class. We're going to do a whole health class for the Sabbath because a lot of y'all was ducking out on the Sunday classes that Sister Malika was doing. So I'm going to bring it to you, but that's for another day, another time. All right. Another invisible weapon they use is these damn radio waves that's everywhere around us as well. It's a weapon. Yeah, it's convenient. We all love our cell phones, right? We all love our electronics. We all love our Bluetooth, but it's a weapon. Just want you to know that.
Let's dig into a pretty intense claim that a mysterious illness is actually a classified weapon. Right, we're moving past mystery illness and into a forensic look at a directed energy weapon. At the center of it all, devices that blast out powerful bursts of microwave energy. So how can this energy actually hurt someone without, a physical impact? It's a process called thermoelastic expansion. Basically, rapid heating creates an internal shockwave. And this isn't just a theory. A 2021 study modeled exactly how these pulses affect the brain. It's a nasty 4-step process. It starts with a pulse and ends with real trauma. The study was clear. These internal stresses are absolutely strong enough to cause brain damage. And that's how you can get a TBI with absolutely no sign of external injury. So why would any military want a weapon that causes invisible injuries like this? Well, it's an ancient strategy, right? Winning without destruction, just updated with modern tech. They're called non-lethal weapons, and they're designed to fill a very specific military need. The big difference here is the goal. It's not destruction, it's about control and incapacitation. This gives commanders a whole new set of options that aren't just brute force. Now here's the crazy part. Congress actually tried to ban weapons like this decades ago. A bill was introduced in 2001 to ban them, but it got quietly replaced and gutted. You really got to pay attention to the specific words that were taken out of the final law. Things like psychotronic, mind control, and mood management just vanished from the text. And that move created what's now a legal loophole for so-called no-touch torture weapons. So you have plausible science and existing military doctrine, and the legal guardrails are gone. This leads us to a pretty straightforward legislative goal, closing that loophole for good. The objective is to put that original language back in and ban these weapon types. So I'll leave you with this question. If a weapon is possible, useful, and legal, is it inevitable?
So just something to think about. Another way that they use to soft kill us. That's why I would suggest, and we're not going to get too deep into this, you know what I'm saying? And I haven't really done a deep dive into this, but it's just a suggestion. I wouldn't advise brothers and sisters. We've become literally chained. I said we, not just you all. It's all of us, probably everybody within the sound of my voice. We have all become chained to our mobile devices. There's an invisible chain to your hand with your mobile device. A lot of you brothers are sleeping with your mobile devices underneath your pillow, right next to you, you sisters too. And it's emitting all types of waves and everything that are damaging to you, whether you know it or not, softly. When you add that into microwaving your food every day and all the other radio waves that we're taking, plus everything that's going on with the Bluetooth, a lot of this stuff is harmful, believe it or not. So I would advise brothers and sisters, at the very least, if you have a nightstand next to your bed or whatever like that, at least put your cell phone on a nightstand. Like, don't sleep on it don't sleep on the pillow with the thing right next to you. Don't keep it in the bed with you. Try not to do that. And I know sometimes maybe, you're not aware of it, you're not thinking, but try to have better habits. Me too. I wake up sometimes and my cell phone is right next to me because I'm watching TV. I'm playing on my phone. Next thing I know, I nod off. I wake up, my phone is right there. So we're all guilty of this, but I understand what it is. So I got to do better. And last thing, on Amazon, I believe the TikTok shop, they have pouches for your cell phones that kind of stop the radio waves from actually being emitted. Like if you put it in your pocket or your purse, a lot of brothers, you put the cell phone in your pocket, which is not good either. It's a lot of things, man. We have to try to do better because these things, although they are technologically convenient, a lot of these are weapons. I just want to say that. Let's move on.
Hey, Priest, would you advocate people throwing out their microwave? I would.
I'm not going to do that. Hey, I'm not going to say that because this Sister Malika is going to be the first one to want to do it because
I don't have a microwave. I stand on that 1,000%. Microwave is the food don't even taste the same, man. I'm telling you, throw that microwave out, brothers and sisters. If I'm off, I'm off. Put it in the chat, man. If you got a microwave, throw that sucker out, man.
All this is over here causing trouble, man.
Now I'll speak the truth.
I come home, I'm gonna have to wait that much longer to warm the daggone food up in the oven on the stove. But you actually, no. Anyway.
It's all right. Keep it moving. But I'm just speaking the truth, though, because what you said, Priest, convenience. Because once the food comes out, it's not the same food. Because the molecules get rearranged. So it's not technically, it looked like rice and peas and chicken, but it's not because the molecules have been rearranged. But go ahead, Priest.
All right, so let's move on. So history matters. I'm going to move on to another subject. History matters, right? So this is a did you know? We're going to talk about the creation of the ADL, or the Anti-Defamation League, right? Because we see and we've heard that a lot of the small hats, they're controlling everything, right? They're controlling everything. They have an organization called the ADL. It's called the Anti-Defamation League. So let's go ahead and let's learn the history of this organization, how it was founded, and why it was founded. Let's go.
In Atlanta, Georgia, 1913, a black janitor named James Conley accused a powerful Jewish leader named Leo Frank of raping and murdering a 13-year-old white girl, Mary Fagan. Frank, in turn, charged Conley with that heinous crime. Never before in a Southern courtroom had a black man's word been accepted as evidence against a white man's. Yet, the white prosecutor, the white judge, and the all-white jury believed the black man. The Leo Frank case is considered the greatest single act of anti-Semitism in American history.
Did y'all catch that? The Leo Frank case, where he was accused of raping a 13-year-old girl, is considered anti-Semitic because the black guy testified against him and the white judge, jury, and prosecutors found him guilty. That's considered anti-Semitic. Yeah, crazy. Let's go back just slightly.
White jury believed the black man. The Leo Frank case is considered the greatest single act of anti-Semitism in American history. A catastrophic miscarriage of justice that regenerated the Ku Klux Klan, launched the Anti-Defamation League of B'nai B'rith, and birthed the modern civil rights movement. Before the Leo Frank affair, Jews treated blacks as their slaves.
So before the Leo Frank situation, the small hats in America treated blacks as slaves. They always try to position themselves and tell us that they've always been our friends. Nope. Before the Leo Frank case, they were openly racist. They're still racist today, but now it's covert, meaning they're hiding it. Let's go back just a little bit so you guys keep the thought.
Ku Klux Klan launched the Anti-Defamation League of B'nai B'rith and birthed the modern civil rights movement. Before the Leo Frank affair, Jews treated blacks as their slaves. After, Jews claimed they were the black man's best friend.
That's strategic. Afterwards, they claim they are best friends. So what's the play? The play is by positioning themselves as our best friends, we will allow them into our organizations and they can infiltrate. They can infiltrate us, divide us, buy off our leadership, pay people off, so forth and so on. And there never could be continuity in the black community, specifically the foundational black Americans. There could never be continuity because we have allowed them inside thinking they are our friends and they have destroyed us from within. That's what they did.
Jews treated blacks as their slaves. After, Jews claimed they were the black man's best friend. So who is Leo Frank?
When black-Jewish relations first started, anytime you get in a dialogue with one of them, and the question of the facts surface, you tell them you know that there was no such thing as black-Jewish relations before 1915. It was not until the Atlanta head of B'nai B'rith, Leo Frank, was hung for murder on the testimony of a black man did the Jewish community begin to penetrate black leadership. We proved that. And part of what it proves is it affirms that there has never, ever, ever been a beginning of a relationship where Jewish wealthy fall into an alliance with college-educated blacks. Because on the surface, we understand that one has the money and the other must work for the money, and no alliance of equality can start unequally. That is the beginning of the nightmare known as black fake Jewish relations.
And that's how it stands today. They control everything. They have the money. They control our politicians. They control the music industry. They control everything related to us. And they siphon our resources. And they treat us as less than while smiling in our face and telling us that they're our friends. And all of it started because a black man testified against a man that raped a 13-year-old girl and killed her. And they never forgot. So now their open racism towards us has turned into a covert racism towards us. It is them that shape the image of the black man that the world sees, which is a negative image. It is them that shapes the image of the way our sisters are seen, that the world sees, which is a negative image. This is exactly what they have done. When you look at some of the most notable foundational Black American organizations in America, a lot of them had small hat founders and people in leadership positions from their inception. The NAACP being the most notable with 6. There's no leadership roles for foundational Black Americans in any small hat organization. We have no leadership roles, none. We have no say-so. We have no power in the organizations. We have nothing, but they have say-so power and even found organizations in our name. You have the National Urban League. You have the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights, so forth and so on. They're in our business, specifically foundational Black Americans. They're in their business while smiling in their face. And here's another chart that shows basically the same thing.
You know what, priest? When they had the I think what government started the charter? What president started the charter for the Freedmen's Bank? I forgot what president. Right, but you know who was in charge of that was a small hat too, priest. They put a white man in charge of the Freedmen's Bank, and he squandered the money. That bank, I don't even know if that bank is still around right now. Maybe only in name only, right? But this just ties into what you're saying. They're always in leadership position in our business, but we're never in theirs. The Freedmen's Bank, yeah, it had a white man running it. Slaki, go ahead, please.
So now that we understand how the end of the ADL got started, that was then, this is now. This is the current leader of the ADL today. His name is Jonathan Greenblatt. All right. Now, Jonathan Greenblatt is going to tell us about the tactics of the ADL today, what they're doing, right? Because through the advent of the internet and platforms like a TikTok and like a X and other platforms before they were compromised, like YouTube early on, so forth and so on, a lot of this information that I'm talking about today was circulating openly, and word was spreading rapidly and fast. And people were starting to wake up to exactly who these people are. So while we're sleeping and we're being distracted now, they're working tirelessly. That's why I keep saying the same thing. I'm not about to get into no circular argument about some of the stupid things that we as Israelites argue about when these so-called Jews are in agreement about what they're doing. They're confederate on what they're doing to destroy everything that they consider to be an enemy, while we're arguing about stupid stuff. I'm just keeping it real. So let's go ahead and let's watch this video, and I want y'all to hear this.
So number one, we measure and track. Number two, we monitor and disrupt. We have a whole apparatus. I have 40 analysts working full-time, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, monitoring extremists. We monitor them online.
When they say monitoring extremists, I want you to know that means anybody that doesn't agree with them. Morning, noon, and night.
Number two, we monitor and disrupt. We have a whole apparatus. I have 40 analysts working full-time, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, monitoring extremists. We monitor them online, social media, messaging apps, video games.
That's why social media has changed. That's why they went and brought TikTok, because they were monitoring it and said, wait a minute, it's too much truth on here. We're getting exposed. Let's buy it and change the algorithm. And anybody on there that says something we don't like, we'll cancel their page. Simple.
Cryptocurrency, podcasts, short form video, Wikipedia, LLMs. We monitor these people and we share the intelligence with the FBI.
And they report people to the FBI that they don't like what it is you're saying. You get reported to the FBI. That's what they do. Let's continue.
You saw last month, you heard about the thing that happened at Wilshire Boulevard Temple. Our analysts investigated what happened. They said they were Koreatown for Palestine, this group of people. They weren't. We were able to ascertain they were from a group called the Turtle Island Liberation Front. Turtle Island is how left-wing activists refer to the United States. They don't call it America, they call it Turtle Island, like the Iranians call it the Zionist entity, or they only call it by its name. The Turtle Island Liberation Front, we gave them a whole dossier. What is Turtle Island Liberation Front? What are their ideas, their goals? Who are they? We identified the people who...
And they do this for every group that's against them, including the Israelites. Camp by camp. Whole dossiers. Monitor your social media. So don't think they don't know who you be posting stuff on social media that identifies you as an Israelite. If you're a part of a camp, it identifies you as part of the camp. They know. They know.
We're in the synagogue. This was on Wednesday, December the 10th. On Monday, December the 15th, this is going to ring a bell. Kash Patel announced they cracked a terror ring where they arrested 4 people who were planning New Year's Eve bombings. Turtle Island Liberation Front. At least one of the people I know for certain was in the building at Wilshire Boulevard Temple, vandalizing it and disrupting the event. So we're monitoring left-wing radicals like the DSA and the anti-war crazies and the pro-Palestine crazies. We're monitoring right-wing extremists like white supremacists, armed militia groups. We're monitoring political Islamists and Christian nationalists, all of them. And then we train. We're the largest trainer of law enforcement in America, extremism hate. We train 20,000 officers every year.
They're the largest trainer of law enforcement in America. They're telling law enforcement what to do, what to look for, what to do. They are the smartest, the 80 of them. They wield power, absolutely. Now, I do want to say this. Brothers and sisters need to be careful what you guys are posting. If you guys pay attention to what was going on the college campuses, right? A lot of these students in 2025 and 2024 were attending and organizing so-called pro-Palestinian, marches and protests, so forth and so on. A lot of these students were in America on student visas and green cards. And Marco Rubio, which is the Secretary of State, used a case that's already in the books as case law as a reason to deport students that were here on student visas and green cards for supporting and organizing pro-Palestine protests. Translation, if you are in America on a student visa or a green card, you must be careful what you're posting and you must be careful of what you're saying, because they can use it as grounds. If they so choose to frame it that way, they can use it as grounds to deport you. You're not a citizen. You got to be very careful what you say and do. I'll leave it right there. Rules for thee, not for me. So I want you guys to listen. I have to do some translating, so y'all bear with me because it is in Hebrew, even though there is English captions, it goes by real fast. This rabbi right here wants a return of slavery and racism towards non-Jews. So when they do it, it's okay. When they're racist, it's okay. Jonathan Greenblatt has no problem. He's not monitoring that. When they're racist, it's okay. When they want slavery to return, it's okay. But if you are online exposing this, you're anti-Semitic and they're watching you. Got it? Does everybody understand? Rules for thee, not for me. This so-called rabbi is drawing this idea of slavery from the Torah and the Tanakh. But it's okay. Now, when we read verses out of the same Torah and Tanakh that show the nations will be in subjection under us, that's considered racism and anti-Semitism. Do y'all see the hypocrisy? Let's watch the video. Listen.
ביטול העבודות החוקית, אז נוצרו מגרעות עכשיו, כי אין אחריות על הנכס הזה. בעזרת השם זה יחזור.
With the help of God, slavery will return. The non-Jews will want to be our slaves. We're so-called non-Jews, according to them, we're going to want to be their slaves. Listen.
זהו הרב אליעזר קשתיאל, ראש ישיבת בני דוד בעלי.
Being the slave of a Jew is the best.
Wait a minute. Where my John 3:16 people at, man? Where my Christians at? Did you show that to them, priest?
Yeah.
ראש ישיבת בני דוד בעלי.
That's why I have it. Where's this clown? Vocab Malone. Got no smoke for this. Because he's a clown. Right. No smoke for this whatsoever. We say literally the same thing, and your whole ministry is against us. Something's wrong with us. We know you bought and paid for. Let's continue.
הישיבה הזו מיועדת לבוגרי המכינה הקדם צבאית, המוכרת והיוקרתית בציונות הדתית. רבים מהם מגיעים אליה לאחר שהם מסיימים שירות צבאי.
במקום שלא סתם מסתובב ברחובות, נעשה שטויות ואלימות ומזיק אחד לשני. עכשיו הוא יביא את החיים שלו מתחילים להתנהל.
לפי הרב קשתיאל, האדונים הם היהודים, העבדים הם הערבים. חלוקה לא מקרית, זה עניין ביולוגי, בעיות גנטיות.
יש מסביבנו עמים כאלה, בעיות גנטיות.
The people around us have genetic problems. Now they get into genetics. We have a genetic problem. Translation, we're not them. So we have a genetic problem. Let's continue. Ask any Arab and they'll tell you that they want to be under occupation. Have you guys ever seen any Arabs saying they want to be under occupation? The answer is no. That's why they were over there rioting, and that's why they had to buy TikTok, change the algorithm so we can't see the protests anymore. And then they can lie like this to our face. Let's continue. He said, of course racism exists. Are we unaware that there are different races?
בעוד יומיים עם ישראל יציין את יום השואה. בין היתר את החלוקה של הנאצים לגזעים, עליונים ונחותים, והנה בגרסה העברית.
כן, אנחנו גזעים.
Yes, we are racists. So, if somebody is prejudiced towards them, you're anti-Semite. But if they're prejudiced or racist towards you, it's okay. Y'all got it? Everybody following along? You got it? That's how it's supposed to go. We believe in racism. This clown has no smoke for these devils, none. Nor does Jonathan Greenblatt either. He doesn't care. That's okay. And then we have Heckle and Jekyll over here, right? This rabbi says black people are excluded from the world to come. We're not allowed. We're not allowed. We're not even allowed in the world to come when their Messiah comes. Listen.
For those whose major complexion is black are excluded from the world to come. And in this world, the minority is addressed. The wicked who are going to be lost in the world to come get compensated, rewarded for their good actions in this world. And the righteous will be punished in this world for the minority of bad actions that they have.
Let's run that back one more time because it was quick. He says it at the very beginning. Listen.
For those whose major complexion is black are excluded from the world to come.
There it is. And that's okay for them to say, right? We'll just let that marinate right there. Y'all can ponder on that for a second, and let's move on. And now I have to ask where these clowns are. You know, you have Officer Tatum, a.k.a. Officer Talmud, and this other coon named Anton Daniels. Where are these clowns at? This clown, especially Anton Daniels, because he's had some choice words for the Israelites. He's had some problems with the Israelites, but on something like this, his mouth will be closed. He has nothing to say. This devil right here is teaching that 2/3 are going to be destroyed. Doesn't that doctrine sound familiar? But when they teach it, it's okay.
Gog and Magog is you want to call it World War III, you want to call it the end of all wars, whatever you want to call it. It's called Gog and Magog according to the Torah. This war will start with a war between Ishmael, which is the Muslims, and Edom, which is the Christians. It's going to be a world war. Initially, they're going to kill each other, fight each other, try to destroy each other, but then they're going to turn around, stop the fight, and then both of them attack Israel. Obviously, the war is never going to stop. It's going to be a continuously built war and so on, but at some point, the Mashiach is going to come. The Jewish Mashiach is going to come. Not the Christian Mashiach, not the Arab Mashiach. The Jewish Mashiach is going to come, and the war is going to take the next big step. Once the Mashiach, son of David, will come, he will fight against the enemies of Am Yisrael. He will defeat all of them. 2/3 of the world are going to die.
Where does that sound familiar from? I'm just curious. I'm just curious.
Oh,
it's bad when we say it. This is crazy. Yeah, this is crazy.
Enemies of Am Yisrael. He will defeat all of them. 2/3 of the world are going to die, going to be destroyed during these wars, some at different parts, but 2/3 of the world will die in a short period of time. The Gaon Vilna says 8 minutes. There's going to be a nuclear war where there's, as part of this Gog and Magog, where in 8 minutes, 2/3 of the world are going to die. 1/3 will remain.
1/3 will remain. That's so. I ain't got to play the whole thing. You guys get the idea. They say the same things that we say. They draw from the same text that we draw from. When we say it, we're anti-Semitic, we're filled with hate, we're monitored, we're put on lists. All these things are happening. When they say it, it's okay. Okay, let's move on. Now, some of you guys may not know who this devil is right here. This devil's name is Morris Dees. Morris Dees. Morris Dees is the founder of the Southern Poverty Law Center, right? And it's based in Montgomery, Alabama. It is known for its legal cases against white supremacist groups, for its classification of hate groups and other extremist organizations. Now, for those of y'all that have been around for a while, if you go to their website and you look under a tab called Hate Watch, a lot of so-called hate groups are on their list, and many Israelite camps, especially some of the top camps, are on that list as being hate groups. They're being tracked. Our camp, Lines of Israel, was on that list, right? Let's come down here. It says their so-called hate map has been used to defame mainstream Americans and even inspired violence. So based on what's on their website, people have been defamed by it. But I want you guys to check the irony of this out, right? So this guy founded this website that's supposed to track racism and hatred. Okay. The problem with that is this. Let's go ahead and let's watch this video. You have a racist fighting racism. That's ironic. This guy right here is a racist. Don't take my word for it. Let's go ahead and let's watch the video.
Over the last 30 years, the Southern Poverty Law Center has become a powerful force in American politics. It has a lot of power, and it gets it by systematically slandering the political enemies of the left. Oppose their agenda on immigration, practice conventional Christianity, believe in the biological difference between the sexes, host a show like this one. And you can expect the SPLC to brand you as an extremist, a hate group, an enemy of humanity. They've gotten rich doing it, by the way. They've got an endowment of more than $500 million. But even as it called all of its political enemies evil, the SPLC was, and you will not be surprised to hear this, apparently operating on a very different standard within their own offices.
So They're calling everybody else evil and they're calling everybody else racist. The problem is they themselves were racist too. That was a shield. So as you guys can see from the caption under him, the founder, Morris Dees, wound up getting fired for misconduct. Now we should ask ourselves, what was this misconduct of their founder that he wound up getting fired for? Couldn't be racism, could it? I don't know. Let's see.
Today, the group abruptly announced the firing of its founder, Morris Dees. The group has not revealed what exactly Dees did. Its statement implies behavior was severe and widespread. The SPL says that not only has it fired Dees, it will be bringing an outside organization in to review the work environment of the entire group. Josh Woon, who's a reporter in Alabama, who's reported on this, cites an internal SPLC email and says that Dees was fired for a mix of sexual harassment, and again, buckle your seatbelt for this one, racial bias.
The organization that's tracking racism, the founder is a racist and wound up having to be removed from the organization. Look at the irony of that. It's okay for everybody else to hate us, but we're not even allowed to identify the small hats and people like this as actually being the real racists, the real people that seek to destroy us. We're not allowed to say that. Let's move on because time is of the essence. I'm going to kind of switch the topic for the last couple of slides for a second. This is the book of Romans chapter 1, verses 22 to 24. In the image, that's an image of Romulus and Remus being suckled by a she-wolf, also called the Capitolone wolf, right? This is Roman mythology about how Rome got started. Rome is named after Romulus, right? So you have Romulus and Remus being suckled by the she-wolf. It says, Romans 1, verse 22 to 24 says, professing themselves to be wise, they became fools and changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into an image made like unto corruptible man, and to birds, and to four-footed beasts and creeping things. So a lot of our people that were in Rome, they were involved in worshiping a lot of these idols. That's why Paul is speaking against it. Wherefore God also gave them up to uncleanness through their lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between them. You also can see an image of Jupiter right there, and Jupiter is accompanied by the eagle, right? And I've shown this many times, but I'll show you guys this one more time real quick. Let's open up a new tab real quick and open up a window. Let's go to Google Images and let's type in George Washington, Jupiter. So this is an image, brothers and sisters, of George Washington enthroned as Jupiter. George Washington enthroned. This is him as being depicted as Jupiter. Just want you guys to see this. Dressed in Roman garb and everything. All right. Let's come back here and let's bring it up so you guys can see it, right? Because this is Rome all over again. All right, let's come back to the PowerPoint for the essence of time. So in ancient Rome, they worship these pagan gods, made gods out of four-footed beasts and mythological creatures, so forth and so on, right? Also in Rome, they worship the Caesars. So this is an image of Julius Caesar's temple, the temple of Caesar, or the temple of Divius Julius, also known as the temple of the deified Julius Caesar. So they worship the Caesars as God as well. So they literally made man that has flesh and blood into a God. So the Bible is not speaking hyperbolically in this particular chapter. It's speaking literally because they literally did this, okay? All right. And when you come here and you look at Romans 1, verse 25, it says, who changed the truth of God into a lie and worship and serve the creature more than the creator who was blessed forever. Amen. So when we think about this in this ancient time, they literally made a man into a God. Man is the creature, right? And they made the creature into a God and worship the creature more than the creator. So I looked up this word, and one of the implications is for creation is also the act of creating or creation, right? So the Most High made man. Man is the creation. And the creation has also created things as well that now man has begun to worship. In ancient times, the thing that the creations created were actual statues. And we would bow down to these statues and we would worship them. In modern times, brothers and sisters, the new God, the new creation that's going to be created, that's going to be worshiped, is AI. Let's go to the World Economic Forum and let's listen to them talk about it. Now, you might be thinking I'm being hyperbolic, so let's listen to what he has to say right here. Listen.
So, AI already thinks better than many of us. Therefore, anything made of words will be taken over by AI.
I'm sorry if I keep pausing it, but I'm going to give you guys a spoiler alert. Anything that is made of words, this is the goal in the future, will be taken over by AI. And as he's going to explain to you, no longer will the standard of academia or anything be human beings. It's going to be AI. When it comes to religion, quote unquote, the top expert on the Bible will be AI, not professors writing books, not people with PhDs and doctorates. The standard of excellence, the highest standard of understanding the Bible will be AI. AI will be God. It will have the final say so. Let's push this back and let him say it himself. If somebody thinks I'm just making that up.
So, AI already thinks better than many of us. Therefore, anything made of words will be taken over by AI. If laws are made of words, then AI will take over the legal system. If books are just...
Y'all missed it. I got to stop it. If laws are made of words, AI will take over the legal system. In the future, you could see where your judge and jury is AI. Y'all want to live in a world like that?
Taken over by AI. If laws are made of words, then AI will take over the legal system. If books are just combinations of words, then AI will take over books. If religion is built from words, then AI will take over religion. This is particularly true of religions based on books, like Islam, Christianity, or Judaism. Judaism calls itself the religion of the book, and it grants ultimate authority not to humans, but to words in books. Humans have authority in Judaism not because of our experiences, but only because we learn words in books. Now, no human can read and remember all the words in all the Jewish books, but AI can easily do that. What happens to a religion of the book when the greatest expert on the Holy Book is an AI?
What happens to the words of a book when the greatest expert on the book is AI? That's called an appeal to authority. I actually watch people that style themselves as being researchers and scholars actually trying to learn from AI. When I say learn from it, meaning that whatever it says, you just regurgitate it. The same way that they do with books. Just because somebody has a doctorate behind their name or a PhD behind their name and they write a book and they call themselves an expert, I'm supposed to believe it just because they say. I've never been that guy. I don't do appeals to authority, none of that stuff. If you say something, I'm going to reason what you said and look to see if what you said was true or if there's any semblance of confirmation bias in your research, because we are human beings and sometimes our biases play into our conclusions. That includes scholars and all of that. So I fact check scholars and I fact check AI. I have screenshots of me having conversations with AI, asking it leading questions because I know what it's going to say. And then I'll present it with something else and it will come back and say, you know what, you're right. While you have others that will sit there and everything AI says, it agrees with. Same thing that they do with human beings that have a PhD or a doctorate behind their name. This is where we're heading. The only difference is one is a human being and one is a daggone robot, a computer. But it's the same. It's an appeal to authority. The appeal to authority fallacy occurs when someone claims that a statement is true simply because an authority says it is. In this case, it's going to be AI. It's going to be the top authority on religion. That's what it's going to be. And the people behind AI are human beings who have biases, right? And let's not forget, lest we forget, ChatGPT, the small hats have bought a stake in ChatGPT as well. So the results you get on ChatGPT will be influenced by them. In the words of a great philosopher called Future, it's an evil world we live in. It's an evil world we live in. And it doesn't make no sense in putting your head in the sand. You must know the time that you're living in. That's why Romans 13 says, and knowing the time is high time to awake out of sleep. The night is far spent. We have to know these things and bring this message to our people. We cannot put our heads in the sand, and we can't be afraid to tell our people about these things. They all are not going to receive it. But there's somebody out there right now, as we speak, that's searching for this, that we know. They're looking for this. So we have to teach it. Let's move on. This is a guy called the Godfather of AI, right? His name is Jeffrey Hinton. He's often called the Godfather of AI. Listen.
Does humanity know what it's doing? No. I think we're moving into a period when, for the first time ever, we may have things more intelligent than us.
You believe they can understand?
Yes.
You believe they are intelligent?
Yes.
You believe these systems have experiences of their own and can make decisions based on those experiences?
In the same sense as people do, yes.
Are they conscious?
I think they probably don't have much self-awareness at present. So in that sense, I don't think they're conscious.
Will they have self-awareness?
Oh, yes. I think they will in time.
And so human beings will be the second most intelligent beings on the planet.
Yeah. We have a very good idea of sort of roughly what it's doing. But as soon as it gets really complicated, we don't actually know what's going on any more than we know what's going on in your brain.
What do you mean we don't know exactly how it works? It was designed by people.
No, it wasn't. What we did was we designed the learning algorithm. That's a bit like designing the principle of evolution. But when this learning algorithm then interacts with data, it produces complicated neural networks that are good at doing things, but we don't really understand exactly how they do those things.
So what they're saying, if anybody's lost, is that when AI was created, they didn't just feed it information, they created learning algorithms. And so AI begins to learn things the same way that a human would. And so now things become so complicated that they don't know what it's going to do or what it's really thinking. You see what I'm saying? That's the way they programmed it. It's crazy. This is Proverbs 22, verse 3. It says, a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. Those are the people that put their heads in the sand and act like all of this is not going on. This is Proverbs 27, verse 12. It says, a prudent man foreseeth the evil. It says, a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth from it, and the simple pass on and are punished. It's repeated twice in the book of Proverbs. So that's for emphasis, to let you know how important it is to foresee what's coming and to hide yourself. Now, we live in this world, but we're not of this world. So we understand exactly what's coming, and we have to find the best ways to wisely maneuver in what's coming. And when things are coming, not to bug out. Don't go crazy. The Most High will always provide an escape or a way. But to put your head in the sand and act like things are not going to happen is going to be really the downfall of a lot of our people and a lot of our people in the truth, because a lot of our people in the truth right now, from what I'm seeing on my timeline on social media, people are more interested in being right about their doctrine, their particular spin on the Bible, their doctrine. They're more concerned with being right about that than what's getting ready to happen. And what's getting ready to happen is not a doctrine. We're literally hearing the devil tell you exactly what they're planning on doing. So you have to choose wisely which one you want to focus on. All right. And this was just part number one, to snap our people back into reality. Like, we're living in perilous times, and we must act accordingly, and we must push that much harder to teach our people and wake our people up, because the Most High is going to send his son to deliver us, but there's a job that has to be accomplished first. We have to wake up through the foolishness of teaching. We have to wake up a lot of our people. We have to teach until the 144,000 is sealed. That's the job. And every day that we do it, they're going to try to make it harder and harder for us to disseminate this message, but we have to become more and more creative in doing so and be consistent as we possibly can be in doing so. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave it there because I'm a little bit past my time. For anybody that's here in Dallas that's going to the summit this evening, Most High Allah, I'll see y'all there. Make sure y'all come up and say shalom. With that being said, Elder Zahab, do you have anything that you wanted to go over or say? The floor is yours.
Timely class, priest. Yeah, we can't stick our head in the sand. We got to be conscious, and you know what's so funny? The Most High will guide you if you're conscious because you're making way, right? I'm paraphrasing, but the Lord ordered the steps of the righteous, right? So if you're making plans and you're looking forward, the Lord will guide you and protect you, and you don't get nervous. Psalms 91 is an excellent scripture that says security of the one true God. The Lord will protect us, so we don't have nothing to worry about. But excellent class, priest. Excellent class.
All praise to the Most High. So once again, guys, we have to do announcements. I'll be real quick and get you guys out of here. Be really quick and get you guys out of here. To my left, above my head, if you're looking on YouTube, that's the QR code. If anybody wants to donate to the camp, if the lessons help you and you feel like you want to help us push this word forward, we really do appreciate your help. For anybody that does choose to help us, all praise to the Most High for that. Passover is April the 1st, 2026. The email to attend Passover is going at the bottom of the screen on the ticker. So if you guys plan on attending, please email us. Let us know your name. Let us know how many people are coming, where you're coming from, et cetera, and we'll give you guys the information for attending Passover. I do appreciate everybody that comes here every week, that listens. I appreciate everybody that's been continuing to donate to us, those of you that have. All praise to the Most High for that. We definitely appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Just keep us all in your prayers. And with that being said, without further ado, it is your brother, Priest Danyaahla, representing Lions of Israel, representing Maccabeestv TV along with Elder Zahab. We'll see you guys again next week. With that being said, brothers and sisters, I say shalom.
I'm telling Babylon. I'm telling Babylon. I'm telling Babylon. You let everybody get a turn. When the angels come, I'ma scream, let her burn. You let everybody get a ride. Did you really think God was gonna let it slide? You let everybody get a turn. When the angels come, I'ma scream, let her burn. You let everybody get a ride. Did you really think God was gonna let it slide? Her name is Babylon. I call her Babs for short. She has a lot of lovers. She lets them pass her port. She has a love affair with every foreign nation. She has a favorite wine. Its name is fornication. She has a purple robe. She has a pearly necklace. And if you worship Caesar, she'll give you worldly blessings. She's insatiable. She cannot hide her passion. Last week, somebody said she rides a dragon. I know it's crazy, but the question is why she had to put a crown upon its 7 heads. And it's even deeper. I had to peep the madness. She made war with the saints that tried to keep commandments. And since she killed the righteous and won't let me be, when she burns, it won't be from an STD. Bodies everywhere, both man and beast. And on that day, the birds are gonna have a feast. You let everybody get a turn. When the angels come, I'ma scream, let her burn. You let everybody get a ride. Did you really think God was gonna let it slide? You let everybody get a turn. When the angels come, I'ma scream, let her burn. You let everybody get a ride. Did you really think God was gonna let it slide? Show me the finest girl. Babs is just as pretty. Her name is Babylon. The girl is such a mystery. Yeah, she's been that way since we were little kids. She nicknamed me Mark like I was 666. She said, you want my number? I said, you high as hell. She said, you need my number or you can buy or sell. She said, take my number. I know that I can't make you, but I'm espoused to Christ and I'm staying faithful. Isaiah had a vision. He saw the elevation. Jesus preached the gospel. John had a revelation. Her lovers hated Babs, so they burned her up. What's upside down, the Lord could always turn it up. You let everybody get a turn. When the angels come, I'ma scream, let her burn. You let everybody get a ride. Did you really think God was gonna let it slide? You let everybody get a turn. When the angels come, I'ma scream, let her burn. You let everybody get a ride. Did you really think God was gonna let it slide? I'm telling Babylon. I'm telling Babylon. I'm telling Babylon. I'm telling Babylon.